Horrendous movie. I never want to see this again. I never will see this again. This review was painful to do, quite frankly.
Sloppy breakdowns where knowledge grows, entertaining us all as the excitement flows. From films to wrestling, he's the pro.
I can't believe what I saw on Friday night from Joker, Folie, Deux. I haven't been let down by a movie like that in such a long time. The first one was really, really good. Joaquin Phoenix's first sequel. I thought, the guy doesn't sign on to just do any project. This is going to be good. Boy, was I wrong. We'll get into it. This is not going to be a fun review. This was pretty torturous, folks, but here we are. But with that being said, let's dive right in. Be warned, this is a spoiler review, so if you do plan on seeing it, and a lot of people have told me, I'm going to skip this one, and smart on you. But if you do plan on seeing it, and you don't want to be spoiled, I'll be here when you get back to review it, and you can listen to this and watch this. But this is your last warning. Spoilers are coming in 3, 2, 1. So let's go. All right. We start off with the Looney Tunes Joker. And in my head, I was like, this is a rather interesting start. If only I knew in this moment. And they were singing, and I was like, all right, we knew it was going to be a musical, but we didn't know how much. I was kind of hoping they would dial it down, because you do take away a lot of your audience with a musical. And if you like musicals, great. But you do take away a good chunk of your audience if you do a pretty much straightforward musical, which is what they did. We finally get to the live action, and we see Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur. He's in jail. They're walking him out. He's doing his normal routine, and I swear to you, he looks even skinnier than the first movie, which is very, very disturbing. And a running theme throughout this movie, at least for like the first half, the prison guards are like, oh, Arthur, tell me a joke, because they are calling him Joker. And at first he's like, yeah, whatever. He just stays quiet. He doesn't want to do anything. Then pretty early into the movie, they're walking him down the hallway, and he sees Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, or Leigh. I'm not sure if they ever called her Harley in the movie, but it was their first interaction, and she's part of this singing group in the prison. Of course, she's part of a singing group. Arthur's first words in the movie, and it takes a little while to get into it, are, can I have a cigarette? I'm like, that's weird, but okay, I guess he's in prison. He doesn't want to talk much. We go outside, and one of the guards tells Arthur, hey, I got you in that singing class. They did it as a joke because they like to mess with Arthur. And he gets to officially meet Harley. Face to face, they get to talk. We find out Harley, or Leigh, set her parents' house on fire. And Arthur calmly admits to him, yeah, I'm here for killing 5 people. 6, but they don't know about the 6th, so shh. His mother. Then we see on one of the TVs in prison a young Harvey Dent. He is saying Arthur Fleck is indeed fit mentally to stand trial. And then Arthur starts singing in the prison.
For once in my life, I have someone who needs me.
I knew we were going to get some musical spots. I didn't think he was going to do them with the prisoners. And then I would have lost a bet had I made one to my buddy Drew about how long it took for us to get an actual musical. I thought it was going to be under 5 minutes. At first, I was like, maybe they toned it down. Because it took maybe 20, 30 minutes for us to get a musical spot. I was like, okay, maybe. We'll get back to that. God, was I wrong. We then see Arthur signing a book for one of the prison guards. And it's a book of Robert De Niro's character from the first movie. And one of the guards jokingly says, it's going to be worth a lot of money when they fry him. And Arthur looks at him. And then he opens the book, and the message Arthur writes to him says, I hope you get cancer, with a smiley face. Probably one of the best parts of the movie, because that was shocking and pretty funny. The prison gets set on fire. Harley and Arthur escape. Now, I thought Harley Quinn was a fake throughout this movie. Spoiler, apparently she's not. At least they never confirmed she was. They escape, but not before sharing a kiss. And then another musical spot comes. We got at least 3 musical spots in 45 minutes. Ugh. So this is the first scene where I thought for sure, imaginary, this is all in Arthur's head. She's not real. She somehow gets into his prison cell. She's like, oh, one of the guards let me in. And I'm like, alright, there's no way. And I'm like, apparently she is real. Well, they never admitted to it. She puts the paint on his face. They have a moment. And he's like, yeah, I'm not taking my medication anymore. So we find out these events took place 2 years after the original Joker movie. So 5 years it took for us to get a sequel, but it's only 2 years in the movie, which I thought was interesting, but it makes sense timeline-wise. Arthur didn't really care about killing Murray, Robert De Niro, and he's like, I should have told a better joke after I killed him, and everyone was like, what? And then Arthur starts singing. Hey. We see Harley watching the trial on a TV, like randomly outside. She breaks the glass, just takes the TV and says, thank you. I don't think we ever came back to that, but so after about an hour, we finally go to the courtroom. I'm like, all right, maybe something is going to happen. Maybe half of this movie can be salvaged. Harley walks in the courtroom and she's watching, not before she does a musical act in the parking lot. We find out Arthur was indeed given back to his abusive mother when he was 7, so that didn't really help him mentally. That's all part of the plan, to say Arthur's not mentally fit to stand trial. And we get a mention about Sophie from the first movie. Didn't think we'd see her, but we did see her later, which was rather interesting. One of the cool moments of the movie. One of the few. Arthur is sitting in the prison cell. At one point, she's trying to explain to him that Harley is going to ruin this, and he's like, you wouldn't get it. Just like from the first movie. Then we cut to Arthur's imagination, and then we see them singing in front of a live studio audience, like on the Murray Show. And like I said, it looks like the same set from the Murray Show. Could be a little different, I'm not really sure. And then Harley just shoots Arthur. But it's imaginary, but it's like, oh, this is interesting. Are we going to go anywhere with this? Spoiler alert, no. Harley is on the other side of the glass. She tells Arthur she's pregnant. Again, I thought she was fake this whole time, but like I said, we saw Sophie, which was cool. And then in this moment, I swear to you, I was like, oh, wow, okay. It's like I was half asleep. Arthur, in that live studio audience, just starts beating a guy to death with a stool. And I'm like, well, that's the Joker I know. But of course, it was fake. We go back to the courtroom. Arthur randomly blurts out that he wants a new lawyer. The court erupts with all his fans. Arthur ends up representing himself, and this is probably the funniest moment in the movie, because I did legitimately laugh at this. Arthur is representing himself, of course, but as the Joker, so he's wearing the full-on face paint to the court proceedings, and the judge, for some reason, allows it. That was probably the funniest moment of the movie, because that actually made me legit laugh. Then we see Gary from the first movie. The guy that Arthur always liked, but he also killed somebody right in front of him. So, he's the witness to put Arthur away. Arthur wasn't a fan of that. In the courtroom, we clearly see Arthur is not mentally there, obviously. He goes through a lot of different accents when questioning Gary.
So you don't think this is me? Well, maybe. You don't know who I really was.
But then, in a very odd, weird scene, Arthur gets beat up by the prison guards when he gets back. And maybe more? I'm not really sure. Again, I don't plan on seeing this movie ever again. So, people are speculating a lot more went down. I don't know. Couldn't really tell you. But in the closing statements, we're back in the courtroom, Arthur admits that the Joker is a character and that he murdered his mother. He wasn't even on trial for murdering his mother. They didn't even know about that. But in that moment, a lot of fans in the courtroom get up, including Harley Quinn, and walk right out. They were upset about this. They understood the Joker, but they felt like they were betrayed. Arthur is found guilty on all counts of murder. And then he just goes, because he can't control himself. It's that evil laugh he does and, whatever. Some guy in the courtroom just attacks him right there. So they get everything calm for a minute. And then eventually, the courtroom explodes. People are saying Harvey Dent's face got injured in that moment. That could be a setup to later. I'm not sure. Joker, Arthur, walks outside and he sees a bunch of other Jokers in a car. They're like, come on, buddy, come on. We assume they did it. And eventually they drive, they keep him low, but then eventually he gets out and runs away. He runs to the same steps from the first movie, and he sees Harley there. They talk for a few minutes, and Harley says, goodbye, Arthur. And that's the last we see of Harley Quinn in the movie. Thank goodness. So they eventually arrest Arthur on the steps, get him back to the prison. Then, to end the movie, one of the prisoners tells Arthur a joke. The prisoner was not having it. He stabbed him at least 10 times while laughing. So some people are speculating that this becomes Heath Ledger and this is the tie-in to The Dark Knight. I highly doubt they were going for that, and honestly, I hope they weren't, because I don't want my favorite movie of all time, The Dark Knight, to be tied into this at all. This movie was horrendous. And in case I didn't say it, that was the end of the movie. This movie was god-awful. I've never wanted to walk out of a movie so much in my life. I was falling asleep halfway through it. I haven't done that since one of the latest Star Wars movies. I'm giving this a 2 out of 10, and I believe this is tied for my lowest rating on a movie ever. It was that bad. I believe it's tied with Winnie the Pooh. I'd rather watch Halloween Ends before I watch this again. This was a disgrace to the fans. The first one was so good. And I mean, I know some people are like, it was okay, but it was an Oscar winning picture compared to this one. Todd Phillips is out of the DCU. He already said Joaquin Phoenix is probably done, I would imagine. I don't ever want to see Joaquin Phoenix's Joker again, sadly. But let's dive into the box office numbers, shall we? 121 million worldwide. The first movie made 120 million worldwide in the first weekend. So that is looking good. But it only made 40 million in the United States and Canada, which was a big fall off from what they were expecting. They were expecting anywhere from 80 to 100 in that case. Worldwide, was it carried? Yeah. Did it do okay first weekend? Yeah. But with a $200 million budget, it making 121 the first weekend, and the horrendous reviews coming out of this, I don't see this turning a profit. As we've discussed before, you need to double your money on the budget to make a profit. So it needs 400 million, give or take, to break even. I don't see that happening. Maybe it does. I don't know. But it's definitely not going to cross $1 billion like the first Joker did. I am very confident in that. If you're thinking about going to see this movie and you say, let me watch this review to see if I'm going to go see it, I would not recommend you seeing this, especially if you've seen the first Joker. Just do what I do. I'm going to pretend this never happened. I'm going to pretend this 2019 Joker was a standalone, and yeah, that's all I can do at this point. Unfortunately, I said before, I haven't been let down by a movie like this in a long time. You put one of my favorite actors and one of the greatest villains ever together, and you make me hate a movie that much. It's sad, quite frankly. But until next time, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. We got some Halloween content coming, folks. And not just Halloween like the franchise. Some scary franchise stuff. So with that being said, I am Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and we will see you in the next one. Hopefully with a better attitude. Later.
Bobby's break